Scholars who were independent in their fiqh. In other words, he wrote books for elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and postgraduate. Everybody clear on this? This book is called Umdatul Fiqh, which literally means the foundation of fiqh. This is one of the books for the beginners. Everybody clear on this? Ibn Qudamah, he says, Babu al-Dhaka. يباح كل ما في البحر بغير ذكاة. Point number 1. He says everything that comes from the sea or the bahar is lawful to eat without any slaughtering. Without any what? Slaughtering. The first question is, what is the bahar? Is it salty water? Is a river considered bahar? A fresh body of water? A huge river, large amounts of water? Or is it just the salty water? A pond, Baisley pond, for example, or lake. Can you eat something out of that body of water, or does it have to be that which is salty? A sea water. Everybody understand this? What is meant by the word bahar? Everybody clear on this? What is meant by the word what? Bahar. Everybody clear on this? So understanding the fiqh point, let alone the dalil, let alone the khilaf of the ulama, is going to be based off of what the term bahar is. Everybody clear on this? To keep things simple, we say that which is in a large body of water. His view was everything that comes from a large body of water is lawful to be eaten without any slaughtering, which includes fish, crabs live in the bahar, sea, or large body of water, or on land, or both. Crabs or clams? Crabs. That's the question.
Usually live in the ocean.
Ocean.
So a large body of water.
What you think, Awani?
Crabs? They live in the water. They go in the water.
Tahir. Both.
They live in sand, right?
Khair, inshallah. He says here, without any slaughtering. Anything that comes out of the water, according to this author, is permissible to be eaten, including seafood, shrimp, lobster. They don't come out the water, do they? At all. Catfish, shark, clams, octopus, squid, whale, etc. Without any what? Slaughtering. If you catch it dead, you take it out of the water, it flops and flips, it's permissible to be eaten, according to the author. He then says, لِقَوْلِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ فِي الْبَحْرِ الْحِلُّ مَيْتَتُهُ. And the proof for this, in this small book, the author mentions the dalil occasionally. He mentions what? The dalil occasionally. The proof for this, for his view, is what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said concerning the bahar. Its dead game is lawful to eat. It's what? Its dead game is what? Lawful to eat. He then says, إِلَّا مَا يَعِيشُ فِي الْبَرِّ فَلَا يَحِلُّ حَتَّى يُذَكَّى. Except for that which إِلَّا مَا يَعِيشُ فِي الْبَرِّ, that which lives on land. You cannot eat it until it is slaughtered. In other words, what type of animal?
A cow.
He's still talking about sea.
Crabs.
Amphibious. Something that's what? Something that's amphibious. Water and land. If it lives on land and lives on water, it has to be slaughtered. Such as a what? Sea turtle, methanen. Or maybe a seal. Maybe what, a seal, huh?
Alligator.
A walrus. Alligator. Which is a long issue, but this is the concept.
They don't live on land?
Crocodiles, do they go on land?
Oh, go on land.
Aish. If you go on it, it sits in the sun.
Yeah.
It's living. Relatively.
Basically, those who breathe on land.
Amphibious.
Which go both.
Amphibious. Try to keep it simple. Khair, inshallah. And this also goes to show, Nafis, how many Islamic sciences, in order to understand them, you need to know about ascent, worldly sciences, looking for the moon, the salah, the sun. You have to know about astronomy. You have to know about biology. You have to know about certain parts of the body, when a woman is of age, a menstrual cycle, pregnancy, etc. Very important concept, huh? Very important concept. Chemistry, foods. He then says, except for crabs and things like crabs. According to the author, crabs are permissible to eat. Even though they go on land, they don't have to be slaughtered. Why not? Because they don't have blood. They don't have blood. Crabs don't have what? Blood.
Except crabs and, what he said?
Similar things.
Oh,
Things
similar.
like crabs, such as what?
You know, oyster, some other ones, the snail type joints that go in there.
Crayfish?
I don't eat seafood like that.
Caviar? Well, not caviar, huh? What?
What's the other ones?
Octopus on land? Allahu Akbar.
You said on land.
Yes, animals that go on land that likes crabs. Things that are similar to
Walking
crabs.
fish.
Clam.
That's the real fish.
We need to go back, huh?
What's that?
Marine biology, 101.
Along with that.
All right, Sheikh Yusuf? We need to go back. Wa alaikum salam to anybody else? Moving on. No explanation yet, just the translation of the word. The author, he then says, وَلَا يُبَاحُ شَيْءٌ مِنَ الْبَرِّ بِغَيْرِ ذَكَاتٍ إِلَّا الْجَرَادَ وَشِبْهَهُ. And anything that lives on land must be slaughtered and cannot be eaten until it is what? Slaughtered. Perhaps we can open up a few windows. Nah, the window's better. Please.
That fan is,
Right.
can.
Except for what? Grasshoppers, locusts, and things like this. They don't need to be slaughtered even though they live on land. Cows, rams, chickens, mooses, bisons, all these things need to be slaughtered. Everybody clear on this? That's the first concept. Moving on. He then says, وَالذَّكَاةُ تَنْقَسِمُ ثَلَاثَةَ أَقْسَامٍ نَحْرٌ وَذَبْحٌ وَعَقْرٌ. He now speaks about actual slaughtering, the cat. Three types of slaughtering. Number one, Abdul Hakim. He says, nahar. That which is called what? Nahar. Number two, dhabh. Quote unquote. We'll leave it as that. And three is aqar. He says, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ نَحْرُ الْإِبِلِ وَذَبْحُ مَا سِوَاهَا. It is recommended to make nahar of camels and make dhabh of animals besides camels. In other words, a nahar is poking the throat. That which is between the neck and the chest of the camel. And a dhabh is that which goes ear to ear, across, slice, cuts across. Everybody clear on that? He says it's recommended to do nahar of camels and to do dhabh of
Other things.
clear. Moving on. If a person makes nahar of that which is to be going across, it's permissible, and the opposite. They're both what? Permissible. He moves on. وَيُشْتَرَطُ لِلذَّكَاةِ كُلِّهَا ثَلَاثَةِ شُرُوطٍ. There are three conditions for a valid slaughter. Number one, أهلية المذكي is the one who's slaughtering has to be qualified. Has to be qualified. You must be able to slaughter. And then there are conditions of this condition. The first condition, the author says, وَهُوَ أَن يَكُونَ عَاقِلًا. He must be sane. And when we say that the slaughterer must be sane, that excludes the it excludes the majnoon. It excludes the what? It excludes the what? Majnoon. Number two, قَادِرًا عَلَى الذَّبْحِ. Capable to slaughter. Physically capable to slaughter. That excludes one who is handicapped, weak, etc. Too scared, too afraid. Condition number three, Musliman or Kitabiyan. They must be Muslim or a Kitabite. A Kitabi. Tayyib. Which means they're either Muslim or Jews or Christians. What about Zoroastrians? People who worship fire. Are they from the people of the book?
No.
That's a homework assignment.
Zoroastrian?
Those who worship the fire, are they from considered Ahlul Kitab? Very important concept. You say yes, they are. Right? What's your proof?
I remember an incident where I was from the missions part.
Tafaddal. This is a classroom. There's no worries.
So Amr ibn al-As and one of the other Sahabis, they sent a letter to Umar al-Khattab in regards to the land. These people were, I believe, in Persia, where they were fire worshippers.
Zoroastrians. Majus.
So they asked in regards to their food, what should be done? Can they eat that? And the Amr said they should treat that as the people of the books, food, and eat on it.
But at least he has some type of hujjah. That's not what the Prophet said. That's what the companion said. Is it the dalil or not? Homework for everybody. Very good application of what you know. That's how you grow in knowledge. Moving on. Condition number what? He then says, فَأَمَّا الطِّفْلُ وَالْمَجْنُونُ وَالسَّكْرَانُ وَالْكَافِرُ الَّذِي لَيْسَ بِكِتَابِي فَلَا تَحِلُّ ذَبِيحَتُهُ. As for a child, someone who's mad and insane, someone who's drunk and intoxicated, someone who is a kafir, who isn't a kitabi, then their slaughter is what? Impermissible. Very important point before we move any further. Khalid, if a Muslim slaughters an animal incorrectly, it is what? Haram. If a Jew or Christian slaughters in the correct way, then it is? Many people, they misunderstand this. This is what we call Abu Hanif, Marbat al-Faras, which literally means the reins of the horse. This is how you pull the horse and you steer it right or left. People in America, they say we can eat from the Jews and the Christians, KFC, McDonald's, Hardee's, Popeyes, Golden Crust, except for the one that has the halal meat, etc. We can eat there because of Ahl Kitab. America is a Christian country, etc. We say that among the learned people, ulama, and not the ignorant people who act like ulama, that's not an issue of differing. Allah clearly mentions that the food of those who have been given the scripture is lawful for you on this day. The Juhal, or they're not Jews, they're not Christians, so on and so forth, we're not talking about them. The learned people, they have the understanding that it's permissible to eat food from a Jew or a Christian. But that's not the argument right now, Khalid. The argument is, are they killing the animal correctly? That's the argument at hand. Not him being a Jew or Christian, but it's slamming a bolt into his brain. Is that permissible? Everybody clear on this? Many people, they misunderstand and they mix the two up. Those who say you cannot eat at McDonald's, they say they're Ahlul Kitab. Maybe they are, perhaps they are, but is the animal being killed in a proper way? And vice versa. If you go to the brother's halal slaughter place, and one of these conditions is missing, he's mad, he's crazy, or he's not a Muslim, he doesn't pray, many things like this, many other issues, then it's also what? Impermissible. Or if he bangs it in the head, or if he doesn't mention Allah's name, according to difference of opinion among the ulama, etc. Everybody understand this? So the first condition, Nafis, is the condition of the one who's making the actual slaughter. This excludes what? We make conditions about the slaughterer. That excludes what? Conditions of the... We're talking about the conditions of the slaughterer, the one who's slaughtering. There's three conditions he mentioned. We mentioned condition. The first condition is that the one who's slaughtering must be qualified. Ahsant. What does it mean to be qualified? Kada, kada, kada. We explained that. There are two other conditions for the slaughter to be valid. What do they pertain to, perhaps? Ahsant. The thing that is being ahsant. And also, we talked about the slaughter already. The ahsant. The thing that is being slaughtered with. There are conditions for what it's being slaughtered with, and conditions for the actual animal, and conditions for the one who is. Everybody clear on this? Moving on. The author says, وَالثَّانِي. The second condition, أن يذكر اسم الله تعالى عند الذبح وإرسال الآلة في الصيد إن كان ناطقا وإن كان أخرس أشار إلى السماء فإن ترك التسمية على الذبيحة عامدا لم تحل وإن تركها ساهيا حلت وإن تركها على الصيد لم يحل عمدا كان أو سهوا. Number 3, he says, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name to be mentioned at the time of slaughter or at the time of releasing your weapon when hunting, whether it's a bullet, an arrow, a lance, a spear, a polearm, a halberd, a poisonous, or not poisonous dart, but a dart, a knife, something that you throw that cuts the animal. And notice that I didn't mention a rock or a slingshot or a bola or something of cumbersome nature, a boomerang, something that clunks the animal in the head. But everything we mentioned was something that has some type of piercing effect. A bullet, a spear, etc. Everybody clear on this? So he says that the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name must be mentioned at when? Or releasing your weapon. Everybody clear on that? Both. Bismillah, Allah Akbar, like a knife, or you say what? And hakada. Everybody clear on this? He then says, this is with regards to the person who can speak. As for the one who cannot speak, the author says he should point to the heavens. He should do what? If he can't talk, he should go like this, then slaughter. This is the author's view. He then says, if a person does not say Bismillah at the time of slaughtering intentionally, the animal is unlawful to be eaten. Slaughtering maybe, huh? Tahir, moving on. He then says, as for if he forgets to say Bismillah, then the animal is permissible or lawful to be eaten. He makes a difference. And Abdul Hakim, we're only talking about what? Slaughtering. He only talks about what? Slaughtering. Everybody clear on this? Right. Moving on. Abu Hanif, can you go check on him, please? Everybody clear? Now, it's okay. Abu Hanif do it. Right. Now, moving on. He says, if you slaughter, we're not talking about hunting, we're only talking about slaughtering. He says, if you forget to say Bismillah intentionally, the animal is haram. You cannot eat it. If you forget to say Bismillah, it is only talking about slaughtering, according to the author. He makes a difference between forgetfulness and hey, wow. He then moves on. He says, as for hunting, then if a person fails to say Bismillah, no matter what, forgetfully, intentionally, he says the animal cannot be eaten. According to everybody clear on this? Next point, the author says, الثالث, the third condition of slaughtering, أن يذكي بمحدد سواء كان من حديد أو حجر أو قصب أو غيره إلا السن والظفر لقول رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما أنهر الدم وذكر اسم الله عليه فكل ليس السن والظفر. He says, number 3, is that the animal will be slaughtered with something that is extremely sharp. Whether it comes from iron, metal, steel, stone, wood, glass, stone, anything that is extremely sharp and pierces the skin and cuts through thoroughly is lawful for the animal to be eaten, with exceptions to 2 things. Number 1, claws and nails. And number 2, teeth and fangs. It's unlawful for a person to take a nail or a claw of an animal and cut the animal, even if it's extremely sharp. Even if it's what? Extremely sharp. A tooth, you've had a tooth from a shark or a fang from a tiger that was sharpened, you cannot slaughter with it. Everybody understand this? He says the proof for this is what the Prophet ﷺ says, that which spills the blood and upon which Allah's name is mentioned, then eat it, except for sin, tooth or fang, and dhufr, nail or claw. Everybody clear on this? The author, he then says, وَيُعْتَبْرُ فِي الصَّيْدِ أَنْ يَصِيدَ بِمُحَدَّدٍ أَوْ يُرْسِلَ جَارِحًا فَيَجْرَحُ الصَّيْدِ. As for hunting, then what's meant by hunting is that he hunts with something that is sharp, or he sends an animal which is ferocious, an animal which is what? That hunts, carnivorous animal, which will clearly pierce the skin of the game. Everybody understand this? فَإِنْ قَتَلَ الصَّيْدَ بِحَجَرٍ أَوْ بُنْدُقٍ أَوْ شَبَكَةٍ أو قتل الجارح الصيد بصدمته أو خنقه أو روعته لم يحل. So therefore, if you kill the game with a stone or rock or a net, or you strangle it to death, or if the animal collides with the hunted game and knocks it out and kills it, or chokes it to death, or scares it to death, it is unlawful to be eaten. In other words, the animal that you send, it only does one thing and one thing only, which is what? There you are. Everybody clear on this? But if the dog, you send the dog and it just, as you say, trucked the animal, we say what? Cannot be eaten. Everybody clear on this?
So there must be blood spill.
Of course. Must be pierced. The blood must flow. Whether it's with your arrow, your bullet, your dog, your cat, your lion, your hawk, your falcon, whatever you use, which is a jarih, something that wounds and pierces. Moving on. The author says, when صاد بالمعراض أكل ما قتل بحده دون ما قتل بعرضه when نصب المناجيل للصيد. It then goes on to mention some further subsidiary issues. Moving on. Notice that the author didn't mention anything about the gender or the sex of the one who's slaughtering. He didn't say that they have to be a male. It can also be a what? A female, as long as those conditions are met. It's time for the adhan or not? Alright, we'll stop here. Perhaps we'll get into the rest of this tomorrow. Or no, not tomorrow, on Thursday. There won't be any class tomorrow. Thursday, inshallah. Wallahu alam. Thursday. Class on Thursday. No class tomorrow. Tfadal.